So I was going to do about 2 or 3 videos tonight, but it's way too hot. I'm really melting, more melting than normal. I'm normally really sweaty when I do these videos anyway, but today it's so hot. So I'm going to do like a real mixed bag of a video. So it's going to be like a review of the comics that I unpacked last time, and also like a mini haul of some graphics that I got, and I've read quite a bit of them as well, so I'll give a review, and also look at the current 2000 AD and just read magazines that have come out. But reason being I'm doing this week's comics haul order hasn't come through yet. The Royal Mail is shit. They never deliver when you expect them to, so I must get it Monday or Tuesday this coming week. But I'll do an unpacking when I get them. I was going to do another video. It was kind of like a love letter to my favourite decade for collecting and reading comics. Just for the whole experience, not for the availability of comics what you could get, but just the whole experience as a comic reader and what it meant to me. But I think that'll take quite a lot of work just to get my words less jumbled. I've got loads of ideas and thoughts about it, but it's just getting it all down into one cohesive kind of long form speech. So I'm just gestating. I was going to do that tonight, but I think I'll give that a bit of time to gestate and just get the ideas out in like a more mapped out way. Because initially I thought it could come across a bit too much like, oh, this is why it's the best, but it's not. It's just my personal feelings. The thing, not nostalgia, and it's just the reason why I got so much affection for this particular decade, just for certain aspects of it, which some of you might agree with, and some of you might think that's rubbish. But there we go. Everybody's got their own personal thing. Anyway, I shall give a review of the comics that I've read, and then I'll show the latest graphic novels that I've bought, and I'll review the ones that I've already read, and there's some that I haven't finished reading. Just hold on 1 second. Forgot one. I am so professional. Anyway, to the reviews. So the first one is, I'm just going to show the covers because it's just too hot. I can't be bothered looking through the comics, but I can remember them all. So this is Dead Boy Detectives, Salmon Universe, Dead Boy Detectives by Pornsack. Every time it gets me, Pornsack, Picker Schultz, and Jeff Stokely writing it, and Jeff Stokely on the art. And that's Dead Boy Detectives number 6, Black Label title. Really nice cover. Yeah, these are weird thing. These Salmon Universe miniseries. It finished it off brilliantly, but they all kind of flow into one another. So you've got the Dream Country ones, which features Corinthian by James Tynion IV, and they kind of flowed into this. And now there's a second series of the Nightmare Country out, and then there's going to be a Thessaly one shot. That's the Witch with the round glasses from Sandman, which comes out of this. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I don't think it's to everybody's taste because it's not out and out horror. It's a strange combination of like classic English ghost story meets Peter Straub kind of horror story. I remember he did one called, it's set in a boarding school, but I can't remember what it was called. Because not Red Dragon, Green Dragon or something like that. But anyway, it's got that same kind of feel where it's quite dense plot-wise, but it's kind of breezy at the same time. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It gave a fresh look at the 2 Dead Boy Detectives, which is soon going to be a series thing from Netflix. And yeah, it was very enjoyable. Really good series. I think people are missing out if they're not trying this. It's something different. It's a nice change from just reading the glut of superhero comics what's out in American comics. So yeah, I give that about an 8 out of 10 for the whole series. And then we've got World Tree number 2 by James Tynion again, Blanco on the artwork, and Jody Blair as well. And that's the cover. This series, I really enjoyed the first issue, if you remember me giving a review of it. And this one's good. but it felt a bit more filler than progressing the story. There's bits in it that were essential, but there's other bits where it's like he did the Tom King bit of, it felt like there was dialogue there just for dialogue's sake, and it just kind of slowed the story down a bit, I think. But still invested, still enjoyable. But I'd give this one a 7.5 out of 10 compared to last month's, which was higher. And then we've got Ramvi's, Ramvi, the writer with the beautiful hair. This is, it's bad when you make yourself laugh. I think that just means, I don't think it means you're funny, it just means you're really sad. But this is issue 172, gorgeous cover. For me, this is my Batman comic. I still get the Chip Zdarsky one, but it's not my kind of Batman. That's more Batman the superhero. This one is Batman. It's a proper detective. It's detective with gothic overtones, and like Ramvi said, it's like a gothic opera, and very much so. It goes deep into the history of Gotham. I always get it wrong. I always get told. My daughter tells me off all the time for this. Gotham, I think it is. The history of Gotham. And yeah, it's just great. It's got a really brilliant atmosphere, and for a rare thing, for a 40-page comic, which they always have backup strips in the DC's 40-page comics, the detective backup strips are essential, and they're just as enjoyable as the main story by Ram V. So yeah, 9 out of 10. Always a joy to read. And then again, I got the one with the classic heavy rock homage cover. I got Black Tape, Sing with the Devil, number 4. This is the final one. This has been a blast to read. I love AWA Upshots, and this has been one of the even better series. Let's say this is an easy 9 out of 10 for the whole series. Very satisfying ending. Very much like a rock biopic meets 70s horror, as if directed by Roman Polanski. Yeah, great. I love AWA Upshot, but I think I'm going to be stopping buying them. Basic reason, there's a lot, and I mean a lot of good DC stuff coming out and Image stuff. I'm not that fussed about Marvel. Still getting a few Marvel. And with AWA, I'm not stopping buying them, but I'm just stopping buying them in floppies. AWA, virtually, they're really good because like after a month, 6 weeks after they've done the miniseries, they bring out the trade paperback, the collector's edition. And they're normally just like $9.99 for the collector's edition. So financially, it's the way to go. So Black Tape will be my last floppy from AWA, and I'll be switching to the collector's editions from now on. So I'm still getting them because I love AWA, but it just makes financial sense. And then one that 9 out of 10 for that great story. Another series that always delivers, issue 4 of Local Man, which is hold on, put my teeth back in. Which is, I'm eating a mint, so that's why. So I can smell nice for the video. So, what was I saying? Oh yeah, this Local Man. I can't handle the heat. I'm sorry. Oh yeah, Local Man number 4. Yeah, so just as good as the other 3, if not better. Fantastic mashup of crime noir and old school superheroics. It's a superhero story. I'm doing film similars again, as if directed by the Coen Bros. It's got that kind of Fargo. It's Fargo meets 90s image superheroes. It's just fantastic. Yeah, and again another easy 9 out of 10. A lot of these are going to be 9 out of 10s, or at least 8 out of 10, because I'm just getting comics what I enjoy. If I don't enjoy a comic after the second or third issue, I drop it. So there we go. And another great comic, number 4 of Torrent. I thought this was an ongoing, but I think it's going to be like a series of miniseries. It's stopping, I think, with number 5. So I hope they bring more out of this. But this has been so good. Again, superhero, but not grim and gritty, but just more like it's a superhero comic, but it feels more like a crime comic. And it's by Mark Guggenheim and Justin Greenwood on artwork. Yeah, it's one of the best superhero, in brackets, comics on the stands. Again, another 9 out of 10. Very enjoyable. And I was up in the air about this. I didn't know whether I was going to carry on with this or not, but I thought I'd give the third issue a try. 1 second. I don't believe in slabbing, but I do believe in bagging, and I hate it when I get like... I don't even know what that is. I've got something on the bag. Anyway, again, you don't need to know that. But this is number 3, Doctor Strange. Fantastic Alex Ross cover by Jed McKay and Pasquale Ferry. Yeah, great. The second issue just kind of bored me a bit. I just found it a bit meh. But yeah, it picked up speed. It had a really fun main story. But I understand why DC do the 40-page ones, because they start off as 40-page ones, but Marvel do this weird thing where they do like a 40-page issue, so they pump it up to $4.99 like this one is, and then it goes back to the standard $3.99 after that, and there's a backup strip in this, and it's just meh. There's no point to it, but there we go. Main story, 9 out of 10. Backup story, 6 out of 10, 5 out of 10. And then we've got a new one that I tried, which was City Boy by Greg Pak and Minkyu Young. I think I've butchered their name. Part of the We Are Legends Asian American Asiatic superheroes that DC are giving a push to. And yeah, it's about this young guy who can basically speak to the cities that he's in, so it helps him find things, what he needs. But it morphs more into, like, again, a crime drama. I don't know. It didn't blow me away. I think I got it because it was a bit of a light week. I don't know if we'll get the second one. Story was average. Artwork was really average. The visual, which is part of this range of We Are Legends, was great. Fantastic. Yeah, carrying on with it. Hope it becomes an ongoing. But this, it's the type of thing in a year's time I'll forget that it existed. So I think I will be dropping it. 6 out of 10. And then we've got one that's such a blast to read. Doom Patrol number 3. By Dennis Covert, and is it Chris Burnham? I think so. Oh no, amazing cover. Yeah, Unstoppable Doom Patrol. I've always loved Doom Patrol. My favourite misfit superhero team. They're always like the cooler team to the X-Men. They were just odd, and this is so odd. But they've incorporated them more into the DC universe, whereas before the Doom Patrol was more outside of the normal DC universe. But it works. And I know it's been expanded to 7 issues from 6, but I hope it ends up being an ongoing or a series of mini-series. Yeah, it's a blast. I would easily 9.5 out of 10 for that, so very high score. And then lastly, oh no, not yet. There's another comic that I've read. Number 2, Green Arrow. I'm glad Green Arrow's back. It's well written, art's great. It's by Joshua Williamson, and I've forgotten the first name of the artist, but it's Isas, the last name. Yeah, it's Green Arrow, but it's in space, and it's timey-wimey, and it's sci-fi. I like Green Arrow to be street level. When he's in space or anything like this, he could be any superhero. It's like when Batman. That's why I've not enjoyed Chip Zdarsky's Batman, because it takes Batman away from where he excels, where he's either a detective or he's street level. When you take him away from that, they just become any old superhero. So I hope after this arc, it gets back to what makes Green Arrow, where he's sticking up for the common man, where he's basically an anarchist, but it's not this in this. It's kind of like the Bat Family with a green paint job, but I'll give you about 7 out of 10. I'm going to stick with it, but I just don't like him in space. So there we go. It's just personal preference. And then I got another one, because if I give it a try, if it was light week, and it was a light week, and I got Batman Brave and the Bold, which is a prestige format, 64 pages I think. So it's got Batman as the main story by Tom King and Mitch Gerads, Stonewatch by Ed Brisson and Jeff Spokes, Superman Order of Black Lamp by Christopher Canswell and Javier Rodriguez, and Heroes of Tomorrow one-shot story by Dan Mora, story and art. There's too much coming out now from DC. They've got just announced that the Birds of Prey coming out by Kelly Thompson, who I adore. She's a fantastic writer. So If DC were this was DC from last year, I'd get this every month. But DC this year are killing it. They're bringing out so much good stuff that I'm stopping it. Um, I think they could have done this as a 48-page, $5.99, $4.99 comic with just the Batman story and the Stormwatch story, and I'd carry on with it. But $7.99 for two stories that I enjoyed and two stories that felt like filler, no. So 6 out of 10. Now I shall move on to the graphics that I've bought these past few weeks. Been quite manga heavy recently, so quite Naoki Urasara, who's famous for Monster, Pluto, and 20th Century Boys, and this is one of his earlier works, Master Keaton. I got this thinking, yay, new series, and I've looked, and number 2's like £60. They've not reprinted it, but I've nearly finished this. Fantastic, just good fun. It's high adventure, got like an Indiana Jones kind of flavour with a good dose of humour all the way through. Not like Naoki Urasara's later stuff, which much more epic in scope. This is more one and done stories, so it doesn't really matter that I've only got one volume because it's a complete one in itself. But I will get the others when they come out. So I'd give this 8 out of 10. No, 7 out of 10. And there's a one shot by Naoki Urasara, and this is Mujirushi, The Sign of Dreams. Gorgeous cover. This is one of his later works. One and done story. I wouldn't say this is a good introduction to him. It's a very unusual story. For half the book I'm wondering where the hell is this going, but it's fun. And I love his later art style. It's much more fluid. It's got a bit of an Eisner feel to it. Yeah, it's a great fun. He does great young female characters in his strips. They're just great. They're not how they do them in Western comics. He just knows how to voice his characters. Each one's individual, and it's a satisfying story. Just a fun. It's daft, but not daft if you know what I mean. It's just it's a jape, and you come away with a smile on your face, and so it's done its job. I give it about a 7.5 out of 10. But I've been waiting ages for number 8 for this series. I've got 2 more to get the full set, but I've binged 3 volumes this past week and a bit, and this is 20th Century Boys, so I've got book 8, book 9, and book 10. So I've just got book 11 to get, and then there's 21st Century Boys, which is like a bookend that ties it all up. And this series is my favourite comic series of any type of comic company, manga, European, American, you name it. It's my favourite comic that I've read in the past 10 years. It's just amazing. It's got the epic scope of a Stephen King novel without the crap endings. It's got amazing art. It starts in the 1960s and it goes all the way through to the 21st century, and it follows this group of friends, and I don't want to give too much away because you need to read it. It's got conspiracy, it's got global threats, it's got terrorism, it's got hints of supernatural, it's got hints of science fiction, it's got everything. It's got friendship, you name it. And it doesn't feel bloated, it doesn't feel flabby. You get invested in all the characters. It just flows so well. It's a masterpiece. Before this book, I'd have said Akira was my all-time favourite manga, but now it's this. 20th Century Boys has blown me away. I want to get Pluto because I hear that's another excellent read by him, and it's been made into an anime at the moment for Netflix, so I hope to get number 1 of that soon if I can. But yeah, absolutely love this. An easy 10 out of 10. In fact, an 11 out of 10. I love it. Amazing. Do yourself a favour, invest in 20th Century Boys while they're still in print. And then I've been umming and ahhing about this series for about 5 years because I had the original comic back in the 80s, but I thought, they'll release it into I have a compendium, so omnibuses, but have they fuck. So I bit the bullet. I had a look on eBay to see if they, because I'm looking on Amazon and other places, and they're going for silly prices. But eBay, they had a quite reasonable price, got this really cheap. And it's the original Suicide Squad by John Ostrander and Luke McDonnell. Trial by Fate. This collects the first 8 issues and the secret origin story that kicks it all off. Can't wait to dive into this again. It's been over 25-30 years since I last read this. So I'm looking forward to this. This was one of my all-time favourite series growing up. So yeah, Suicide Squad. I think there's about 8 volumes in total. Got this one. I've ordered number 2 for a cheap price as well. So we get those 2 this month. Next month, get the next 2, and so on and so on. So I've got all of them. Yeah, I'm invested. And a recent purchase I got from 2000 AD branch of graphic novels. It's written by Dan Abnett, who I think writes his best work for 2000 AD. He's better than his Marvel stuff and DC stuff and his Warhammer stuff. And this is a new creation of his from I think about 2 years ago, and they're called Feral and Foe. And it's drawn by Richard Elson, who did Kingdom with him. It just turns the whole concept of fantasy on its head. It's basically taking a piss out of grimdark fantasy, like blending it with the humour of Terry Pratchett, but it's still action heavy, and it's got hints of Blackadder in it and everything. It's just great. The baddies aren't the good guys. The good guys are the baddies. So the people normally in fantasy who'd be like the brave, stout warriors, they're the ones he hates in this book, and the ones that you like are the monsters and the demons, etc. And the dialogue is just fantastic. The artwork is just a joy. I'm only about halfway through it at the moment. But yeah, from what I've read so far, it's an easy 8 or 9 out of 10. I hope they do more. I've not read it, so maybe it finishes with the end of this book, but I'm not finished reading it. But I'm having a blast. I don't want to rush it. I'm just savouring every page. Yeah, Dan Abnett on 2000 AD, he can do no wrong. Lawless is a great series, and Brink as well. The Halcyon one I'm not keen on because I think it's just not clicked with me, but I can appreciate it. It's not badly written and the artwork's gorgeous, but it's just not clicked with me. But yeah, this great fun read. If you like fantasy, like say the Rat Queens kind of style, you'll enjoy this. Yeah, it's great. And talking of 2000 AD, these have been recent issues. So the latest Judge Dredd, there's a new one coming out in a few weeks. I don't know about who's the artist. I always know the artist when I'm not having to do stuff like this, but Nick Percival. He's good, but it always just looks like he's smeared everything with Vaseline. It always just looks a bit blurred, but I'm actually waiting for that. I can't wait for that story to finish. It's not really sunk me, but the Judge Dredd one where he meets One-Eyed Jack, it's like a time slide. Is it what they call? Well, there's 2 stories happening in different time streams. That's a great story. So yeah, so you got Judge Dredd with One-Eyed Jack. Then you've got Carlos Esquera's final work with John Wagner, Spectre. Not read this yet, but I read the first episode last month. Real fun read. He's a android lawkeeper. Nice send off for Carlos Esquera. Like I said, Death Metal Planet. That's the Nick Percival one. Yeah, not doing much for me. Then there's some really good interviews and articles in, and then you got Judge Anderson comic by Matt Smith, who I think's the 2000 AD editor, and Carl Critchlow on artwork, who's a solid artist. And then I'm looking forward to reading this one actually. Johnny Red story by Garth Ennis and Keith Burns. There we go. Apparently that's meant to be good. I've not read that yet. The only thing I'm not keen on is when they do these like segments from some of the classic books, what they're bringing out. I never read them. But yeah, some good interviews of stuff. And then one series that I'm enjoying is The Return of Dreadnoughts, with John Higgins doing his best artwork of his life. And it's written by Mike Carroll, who's a really good 2000 AD Judge Dredd art writer. So yeah, a nice strip to finish it off. Not finished reading this, but yeah, you can't go wrong with Judge Dredd. especially in this new chunky format. You get loads of value for your money. And then we've got the latest issues 2000 AD. I love this cover. Boo Cook should be more well known than he is. He's such a unique artist. I'd say he's one of the modern classic masters of 2000 AD now. Not actually got around to reading these 2 issues yet, but the artwork for this is just so trippy. It's great. And then you've got Rogue Trooper by Garth Ennis and Patrick Goddard, and then we've got Durham Red by Alec Worley and Ben Wilshire. She's the vampire mutant bounty hunter spinning out the strontium dog. And we've got, this has been a surprisingly fun comic, Enemy Earth, which I think started off in the 2008 regime. So yeah, the lineup at the moment in 2000, and this cover for the latest issue is so good. Cover of the week, I think, that one. But yeah, like I said, not ready these yet, but the 2008 moments is so solid with the lineups. Yeah, it's a really enjoyable read. The only thing that really fucks me off, big style, is that they stop the regular run every like 8 weeks or so to do this 2000 AD regime, which is aimed at a younger audience. Fine, no problem with doing a younger comic for a younger audience, but why not just make it its own entity, make it a monthly comic for young people? Because they stop it when you're still reading the strips. They don't do it when the strips are finished. It's like you've got about 3 or 4 more episodes of these strips to finish, but you've got to wait a week, so you've got to skip a week and then it starts again. I mean, I save a bit of money, but it just throws it out a bit. Like I said, I'd buy 2000 AD regened if it was its own individual thing, but I refuse to buy it when it disrupts this, because I can't connect with it, because I just feel like, I want to read this, so I get all pissy about it because I'm that type of person. But anyway, I highly recommend 2000 AD. If you're in the States and you can't get hold of the comics, do try any of the graphic novels from 2000 AD. Highly recommend Zenith, Nemesis, ABC Warriors, Bad Company, Judge Dredd, Judge Anderson, Button Man, Lawless, Brink, Feral and Foe. I could go on. So many. All of them well worth investing in. But anyway, that's it. Like I said, it's a real messy video. It's bits of everything, but I just can't be asked editing and doing 2 or 3 different videos. And I'm going to be doing something special later on. It won't be visually impressive. It's just going to be me waffling on like I do today. But it's my love letter to my favourite decade of being a comic fan. And I'll just elaborate on why and what it means to me when I do it. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to try and find a cool spot because I am literally melting. Got the windows open, got my fan on, but it's not helping. So and my hair is just wilted. Anyway, you don't need to know, but yeah. See, my brain's gone to mush. Anyway, bye. Have a great weekend, and speak to you soon. Bye. Bye.